bit before, but you had a little part with Lucille Ball at one time, didn't you?
Oh yeah. Okay, okay, I'll just do a quick setup. It's a setup. Yes, I was in a movie called Yours, Mine, and Ours. And it was a marriage between Lucille's Ball character and Henry Fonda's character. They both had kids, separate marriages, and they got married. So that's like 12 kids, yours, mine, and ours. You get it? Okay.
Right.
So I was part of a group called the Committee in San Francisco, and the movie was set in San Francisco. So they hired the cast, which was 5 people to be in the movies here and there, just small parts, just like a flavor, to prove they were really in San Francisco. Well,
Yeah.
the actors there. So we were in the background, no big parts. And I didn't have any lines at all. And we were just scattered, salted throughout the movie. So I was a bag boy and they went shopping and it was on a sound stage, but they had a supermarket set.
Right.
So I was just a bag boy. That was all. I mean, that was it. It's no big deal. It's what happened next that really
Mm.
counts. Yeah. So we did the thing. And all I did was they were buying, they had a lot of kids, so they were buying a lot of stuff. They had lines with the cashier, but none with me. I had no lines. All I did was I was in the background or on the side packing bags. And that
Hmm.
was it. So they did this shot twice, and then they wanted to reset the camera. So we all stepped aside. But Lucille Ball uh, just took 3 steps off where she was standing in the scene. Boom, boom, boom. And then she was surrounded by 4 women from uh, I guess the makeup department. And they started working on her, and she stood there like a store window dummy. She just stood like this, and they started to. One was working on her hair, one was working on her makeup, one was working on her lipstick, and one was working on a costume. And they would. I
Yeah.
mean, there's nothing to do. I mean, she didn't do anything. She was just standing there. Probably she was just standing around all day, just waiting to go on camera and not moving
Right.
because nothing changed. I mean, they just made believe, and she just stood there and let them do it. So she's not a real diva.
Yeah.
I looked around for Henry Fonda to see what he was doing while they were working on her. It was ridiculous, and I thought it was ridiculous. So I just
Hmm.
stood aside. I was about 15 feet away. You know,
Right.
I thought out of her eye line because she was, just standing here, and I was kind of over there. And I was watching, and the women kind of weren't as tall as she was. So she
She was
was
a
about,
tall lady.
yeah, yeah. Well, they were, or they were very short. Either one. I don't know, but so I could see her head, and I could see what they were doing, and then she was
Hmm.
walk as they went walk as they worked on her, and she just stood there, and then she like turned her head and she saw me, you know, and she said, and she raised up a little, just above their heads, and she said, "Young man, what is your name?" Well, I didn't know. This is the first time she talked to anybody.
Yeah.
I mean,
A little
just
intimidating, I guess.
yeah, yeah. I mean, what is your name? Like she's going to report me to the police. I mean, that was what it was kind of
Yeah.
like.
It was
And,
Lucille Ball. What would
and
you
she
expect?
said, "Would you come over here, please?" And then the ladies stopped working on her and stepped aside. They just
Oh,
stepped
wow.
away a little so that I could come over and she could talk to me. So I went over to her and I said, yes. And she said, um, sorry. And she said, no. Now, all I did was bag groceries. I mean, like I wasn't acting. I was just standing
Right.
there. And she said, no, she said, uh, you're a very nice man, I guess kid, guy, whatever she said. You're a very nice actor.
Hmm.
You're a very nice actor. You're very talented. But if you get in my light once more, you're not going to be working here. And then
Oh,
yeah, and then she just stepped back, and then the ladies just boom. And I just thought, holy cow, man, wow.
ooh,
And she meant it. She
yeah.
was, that was not a joke. And I thought, wow, my first thought is diva, 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 big.
Hmm.
My awe of Lucille Ball just went,
Yeah, just collapsed. Like took a light switch and went,
screw you,
yeah.
lady. That
Hmm.
was all I was thinking. But, hey, man, this is Lucille Ball and this is a movie and I'm a hired person. So I just stepped back and, it was very nice. Okay. And then, they said, okay, back into the scene, and then, so I bagged and I made sure I wasn't in her light,
Yeah.
and we're like, okay. That's basically the story of me and Lucille Ball, the diva. And Henry Fonda was exactly opposite because while all this was going on, the ladies and then me and then back to the ladies, I was looking for what he was doing while this was going on. Like,
Right.
is he going through the same thing with another actor saying, "You get my light again, I'm gonna fuck you up"? Uh, no, he just faded into the woodwork. He just went to the nearest wall that was in shadow, and it was a soundstage, and the soundstage wall just so happened was only about 25 feet away from where we were shooting.
Hmm.
Uh, and it was dark there because it was a wall.
Right.
No lights were on it. So
Yeah.
he just faded into the shadow. He just went against the wall and he just stood there very calmly waiting for them to ask him to go back into the scene. So he didn't
Hmm.
do anything. So there were two opposites. There's people are working on him, women are working on her, and nobody was going over to him. Now, I figured nobody was going over to him because of awe, oh, it's Henry Fonda, just tiptoe around him.
Yeah.
But he just stood there very calmly, just, watching and stuff like that. So, okay. And then when the scene was over, I just got out of there. I didn't want to be around her anymore.